After doing months, years, or maybe even decades of personal growth work, of investigating your thoughts and beliefs, processing your feelings, healing your traumas and childhood wounds, there comes a time which will make itself known to you to move on from the techniques and tools and strategies that you've been using, because you sense that you've gotten all that you can get out of them. And to learn another technique or strategy or way of analyzing would be nothing more than another version of the same thing that you've already done. So you find yourself at a crossroad. What do you do now? Now that you've tried everything, you've invested time and energy into your healing and personal growth, yet there's a part of you that still feels bound, maybe even held captive by certain thoughts and emotions. Maybe they aren't as intense as they used to be, but you still have them. Maybe they show up as different forms of the same old thought or emotion that you thought you had already dealt with, until you realize that they're still there. So what do you do now? I would suggest that now is the time to leave behind the techniques, the tools, the strategies, the analysis, which all of that is needed at first, but it can only get you so far. And I invite you to open to the possibility that every thought, every emotion that you've ever had or ever will have is appearing because it wants to be liberated. It's appearing because it wants to be liberated, not manipulated or analyzed by a tool or a strategy. Every thought and every emotion that you've ever had or ever will have is appearing because it wants to be liberated, not because it wants to be changed or transformed by the next shiny new self-improvement technique. No, every thought and every emotion that you have ever had or ever will have is appearing because it wants to be liberated, so that you can be free from the mental gymnastics that you've become addicted to. You see, the only reason why thoughts and emotions have such a gripping control over you, the only reason that they create so much noise and distract you from what's truly important, is that they're being held captive in a never-ending cycle of self-improvement techniques that never quite get the results that you're hoping for. And all they want is to be free. Imagine if you were being held against your will, made to jump through all types of hoops and perform all types of tricks, being told that this time, this trick is going to free you. But then it never happens. Wouldn't you scream? Wouldn't you rebel? Wouldn't you try to get the attention of your captor by making lots of noise? So in this meditation, you'll do just that. You'll free your thoughts and emotions from the trappings of techniques and strategies that you've been using to change them, and instead you'll liberate them by seeing what they really are and recognizing that the reason that they're appearing is because they want to be free. So for this meditation, it's best to have a specific thought or emotion in mind that you want to liberate. Maybe you're feeling frustrated or angry or judgmental or fearful, worried, overwhelmed, anxious, whatever it is. Great. Bring that emotion and that associated thought into this meditation. For instance, if you're feeling worried, and the associated thought is, I don't trust the stock market. What if I lose all my life savings and then I'll have to work for the rest of my life? This is what you'll work on in the meditation. Or maybe you have a thought that's on repeat, like John or Mary only thinks about herself or himself, and oh my God, they're so selfish and they don't even realize how it affects others. That thought's going to have an associated emotion or emotions like judgment and anger. So that would be what you would work on in this meditation. What is it for you? So go ahead, if you need to, and pause this audio now. Take some time to clarify what thought and emotion you want to liberate. And if you're not sure, the best thing to do is simply trust that whatever is showing up right now, or whatever is appearing for you right now, is exactly what wants to be liberated. So let's begin. Just getting comfortable and closing your eyes. Go ahead and take a few long, slow breaths. And just noticing all the different places where your body is in contact with the surface underneath you. Feeling the support of the surface underneath you. Maybe even taking a moment to acknowledge all the different ways in which you are being supported in this spiritual journey of self-realization, self-revelation. Maybe by certain people in your life, a teacher or a mentor or a friend, maybe a community. Or perhaps it's that you feel the support of what you might call a divine presence, an unseen intelligence that has somehow led you to this moment right now, right here, listening to these words. And just bringing your attention to your breath. Noticing where your breath goes as you breathe in and where it goes as you breathe out. Noticing how your breath is like a bridge between your outer world and your inner world. With each breath, drawing a little more closely into your inner world and into that place where everything that you've ever known or sensed or felt or imagined or dreamed or experienced is recorded. And as you come into this place, gently allowing all of your inner senses to begin to open quite widely. Your inner sense of hearing and smelling and touching, but especially allowing your sixth sense, your intuitive sense of just knowing, to begin to open quite widely now, as you allow the field of your awareness to expand in all directions. And bringing your attention now to all of the sounds that are arising within your field of awareness right now. Maybe it's the ambient sounds outside of the room or the space you're sitting in, a car passing by, a distant conversation in another room. Maybe sounds of nature outside your window, or even just the sound of my voice. And just noticing how all of these different sounds, even if they're very subtle sounds, notice that they're arising and subsiding. Notice how they come and go in their own timing. And that you have no control over when they arise or when they subside. Notice as well that even though these sounds arise and subside, they come and go, there is one thing that remains constant, and that is awareness. In other words, you are aware of when a sound is present, and you're also aware of when a sound isn't present. Awareness is always there. It's always present. Now, consider the possibility that thoughts and emotions are inherently no different than any sound that may arise or subside. Thoughts and emotions, they too arise within this field of awareness. They remain there for a certain period of time, and then they, at a certain point, dissolve back into this field of awareness. And the one thing that remains constant is awareness. So now, bring to mind a particular thought, emotion. Maybe the thought dominates a bit more of your attention, but there's an emotion that accompanies the thought, or maybe it's the opposite, where you have an emotion that's dominating and it has an accompanying thought. Allowing this thought emotion to arise, and if you need to access an event or a memory to give rise to this thought emotion, you can go ahead and do that. But once the thought emotion has been accessed, let go of the memory, let go of the story, so that all that remains is the thought emotion. Now, consider the possibility that every thought and every emotion that you've ever had or ever will have arises for one reason and one reason only. It wants to be liberated. It doesn't want to be analyzed. It doesn't want to be manipulated into a different type of thought or emotion. It just wants to be liberated. It wants to be free. And the same is true with this present thought emotion. This thought emotion that is within your awareness right now. And to liberate this thought emotion, all that's required is to let it arise without trying to do anything with it. Just to let it be there in its fullness. In the same way that a sound arises, like the sound of this voice, and you don't try to do anything with the sound. In the same way, just allow the thought emotion to be there without making up a story about it. Recognize this thought emotion is arising because it wants to be liberated. It's ready to be liberated. That is why it's showing up for you. Now we can investigate this thought emotion in your direct experience. You can have a direct and intimate experience with this thought emotion. You can discover what it really is. And in that way, it's seen by the light of awareness. And in being seen by the light of awareness, it can be freed. So what we know to be true and what science verifies is that everything in the manifest world is simply a vibrational configuration. This includes everything you perceive, those things that you see, that you hear, that you taste and touch. It includes all sensations, and it includes all cognitions, thoughts, and emotions. So this thought, emotion that you're holding within your awareness right now is simply a vibrational configuration. Where is this vibrational configuration located? See if you can locate it right now. Can you pinpoint its exact location within this field of awareness? In other words, where does this vibrational configuration that we're labeling thought, emotion, begin? And where does it end? Does it have a boundary? Or is it more like it's occupying the entire field of awareness? Neither here nor there, but sort of everywhere. Not as concrete, as you may have previously believed. Notice how in your direct experience this thought emotion is just a vibrational configuration occupying space. And it has temporarily arisen within this infinite field of awareness. It'll remain here for a certain period of time, and when it's ready, it will dissolve back into this field of awareness until it's no longer there, forever liberated. This thought emotion is like a wave arising from within this ocean of awareness. It'll move along the ocean of awareness for some time, but eventually it will break and disappear back into the ocean of awareness from which it came. You may even notice right now that this thought emotion is finding its way back into the ocean of awareness. And from this level of direct knowing, you will see how every thought and every emotion easily and effortlessly arises when it's allowed to, and it just as easily and effortlessly dissolves when it's allowed to. And in this way, it becomes a beautiful and wondrous play of wave upon wave arising up out of the ocean of awareness and falling back into the ocean of awareness where it's freed into no thingness. And as you become more aware of this field of awareness, you may notice its particular qualities. Its infinite stillness, but it's not an inert stillness. It's a stillness teeming with possibility. Each possibility just below the surface, waiting to erupt in a wave of experience that you call thought or emotion. Notice how this field of awareness never censors anything that arises. That in fact, it says yes to everything. And in this way, it has the capacity to hold every imaginable thought and emotion. Without judgment, without praise, without critique. As you allow yourself to be more aware of this awareness, perhaps you may even notice that you, in fact, are this field of awareness. And perhaps you'll even notice that as the waves of thoughts and emotions arise and subside, that they have no power to harm you or to hurt you. You, as awareness, remain unchanged, unhurt, unscathed, untainted by any thoughts or any emotions, as they simply are waves arising and subsiding within you, emerging from you and dissolving back into you.